This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Great to have you with us this morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz, still kind of in the afterglow of last week's immaculate week for the Texas Tech athletic program. It continued last night, the success with the Lady Raiders winning over Lamar 61-44. We're on a pretty good roll right now as an athletic department group, sports season, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, the football win was big because it gets you closer to bowl eligibility.
Right.
Yeah. Soccer is obviously huge because it's in the postseason, but I don't know what we got going in basketball. I don't know if that. I guess you can only win the games they put in front of you, but
right.
I don't know that I'm calling any of that immaculate.
Well, I mean, you won.
You won. I know. I get it.
You won, and I mean, all your sports have won. That's the
yes, I get it. That's in volleyball. Those were big wins for them.
Yeah, and they had the. They had the thing in. They had the jaws of victory, and they were getting ready to clamp down on West Virginia. West Virginia said, "Not so fast. We're going to play. We're going to play hard." After we're down 2-1, and they won a set, and they were on the verge of winning the fifth set and having a happy ride home to Morgantown. And then the Red Raider volleyball team said,
"Not so fast, my friend.
Not so fast, my friend. We're going to delay the start of this basketball game, and we're gonna come back and win a fifth set." So that was all is well and good.
Yeah, I mean, that's good stuff.
You're also still forgetting a really huge piece of good news.
I know. I mean,
I know we don't cover recruiting.
We don't really talk a whole lot about that, but I mean, everybody's pretty happy about this number 2 recruiting class that you got for softball.
We would be stoked for them if it was a top 20.
Sure.
Yeah,
this is number 2.
Well, we'd be stoked if a lot of sports were in the top 20.
Yeah. And
you're right.
There's only one better, and they're like,
I know,
the number one team in the history of the all softball.
I've not downplayed it or poo-pooed it. I was just talking about the competition on the field has been immaculate.
I'd say that these coaches think this competition in recruiting is pretty important too.
Yeah. Hey,
I mean, haven't we learned around here about overhyping things?
No, we haven't learned our lesson. We haven't.
This isn't our ranking.
No,
that's someone with a brain.
I'm totally. That's awesome. That's amazing.
He's talking about my use of the word immaculate and getting. I'm not just overly pumped with how it's.
I mean, we
started.
sit here at the off season and be like, man, I wish we would have a basketball game to be entertained by. I wish we would have somebody in, at home in non-conference play that would give us even a bit of a challenge and make it entertaining. And now we're 4-0 against Sisters of the Poor JV, and we're like, this is immaculate.
Yeah, we're immaculate. That's right. Hey, I know.
Actually, 5-0, right?
The women are 3-0 and the men are 2-0.
Yeah,
so 5-0. Hey, I was listening to Double T 97.3 at the end of the ball game the other day into the Tech KU game, and I wanted to hear the on-field interview with Coach McGuire with Chris Level, and Coach McGuire. Now I'm just going to tell you what he said, okay, and then you tell me if you would have done this too. Apparently, in their hotel room that they stayed in a suburb about 40 miles from Lawrence. Coach McGuire's room number was 1111 on 1111, and he said, "So I made a wish."
I don't think I would have.
Would you have thought to do that?
I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have never put it together that I was in a room 1111 on 1111.
Okay, you wouldn't have.
So I surely wouldn't have thought to make a wish.
Okay, I would have. I will admit, I would have connected 1111 with 1111, but I didn't know that you made a wish when that happened. So I probably wouldn't have made the wish. Okay.
Okay.
He wished for a win and got it, but I mean, I wouldn't have put all three of those things together. I would have gotten two of them because I would have, oh, hey, I'm in 1111 and 1111. how ironic is that? Or what a coinky-dink. I think I probably would have said, what a coinky-dink. And then I probably would have told a number of people, hey, you know what? I'm at 11. Do you think that says something? I think I probably, but I wouldn't have thought to make a wish on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would have known to make a wish either.
When you see a falling star, do you make a wish? When you look out at the sky at night and you see that there's only one star, do you make a wish? Because those are two things that you're supposed to do as well.
I do not.
Okay, I will tell you I do that. When I see like just the one star, like I make a wish. I'm like, oh, there's just one star out. And then kind of do a quick scan around, make a wish.
You know, the most of the time when you're doing that, you're making a wish on Venus, right?
Hey, a star is a star, right? Whatever the first blink out there is what I see.
Better than Serena.
Mm-hmm. Right. We get this, a thumbs up JM, a thumbs up CH, and a thumbs up JL. Good morning. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Jamie. I missed you.
Red Raider 2 Gun says Shelley and her fantasy football team isn't immaculate. Oh, okay.
Hey.
Listening to the morning drive at Amarillo Hotel, first leg of California trip, hashtag Wreckham. Oh, well, good luck and drive safely if that's what you're doing. You know, if you're driving west to California, and be safe.
Yeah, I don't care if you're driving
like to 50th in Indiana.
Yeah, drive safely.
Drive safely.
Don't
right?
drive like Chuck.
Yeah, or just get out of the way and everybody will be happy.
Oh yeah.
What was your take of the Red Raider basketball game on Sunday? What'd you see that you liked or that you didn't like?
I like that you could win a low scoring game when on a day that your offense wasn't great. Obviously, you know, your lead dog scoring wise is Pop Isaacs, and he didn't have a great day shooting the ball. But I actually thought he played really well. I thought he did some things. You know, a couple games ago he had 5 turnovers. He had 5 assists in this game, which I thought was nice. I actually felt like that I really liked what I saw from him in that game, in a game where he didn't shoot it well. I think Cambridge is a guy that just kind of hangs around the rim, and he led you in scoring, and I thought the Red Raiders did a good job finding him. I thought they moved the ball well, so it just was a bit of an ugly game, but good teams can win, and you know, up-tempo, high-scoring games, and good teams can win when you have to, you know, kind of duke it out a little bit and muck it up.
Right.
And it wasn't pretty, but I didn't think too much of it. Again, you're just so early into this Grant McCaslin era with so many new players. I just think it's going to take a little bit of time to figure everything out, and it's going to take some games under their belt to get good chemistry and to figure out who works well with each other and all those things. So I didn't think, oh man, this is a sign that we're not very good or anything like that. Kind of liked the fight. It was chippy.
Yeah, it was.
I kind of liked that.
It was chippy. I mean, and you know, the way that you finished, I really liked. I mean, you go on an 18-2 run. I thought the Toussaint 3 was the big kind of turnaround in that game. He had 10.
Yeah, which is interesting because I'd prefer he not shoot 3-pointers.
Right, he was 1 for 5.
He does not look good shooting the 3. Well, I really like his game, but I don't love his. He does not bring me confidence when he pulls it from behind the arc.
Frankly, I mean, did anybody? I mean, you were 3 of 16.
Well, on that day, no, but yeah. I mean, usually when Pop pulls up, I'm like, money.
Yeah,
this is going in.
Right. Well, and he had one there at the end, and that was his only shot that he made. Was the 3 ball, in addition to he went 5 of 6 from the free throw line.
Yeah, 7 rebounds too for Pop.
Yeah, he let him,
and 5 assists. Man, we've talked about him, just being a little bit more of a complete player.
Sure.
And it's unfortunate that he did it on a day where he didn't shoot well.
Right.
But showing that he, on a day where my shot's not falling, I can still help my team win.
Yeah.
Let him in rebounding and assists. You'll take that.
I think the other thing that was impressive too was they didn't have very many turnovers. They only had 11 turnovers in the ball game.
Yeah.
So I mean, for a team that's just
especially in a game that's a little bit ugly.
Yeah, right. All those things.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
A couple things going on in college football I wanted to kind of pick your brain about. I feel like that. I think you're with me on this, but I feel like I'm in the minority on this. In that, I really don't like the Michigan attitude, the Harbaugh attitude with regard to this sign stealing caper, and I think it's elevated beyond what maybe other schools do, and I think some of the arrogance and the kind of in your face return back to the Big Ten and the NCAA is what's causing this suspension. I didn't necessarily like that the Big Ten suspended him without due process, so to speak. Where
it was a little strange. I agree.
I didn't necessarily like that, but now,
but surely there must have been some process.
Yes, yeah, no, they had a lot of evidence, but Michigan didn't, and Harbaugh specifically didn't get a chance to really state their case, so to speak. It felt like there wasn't any kind of opportunity for them to defend themselves.
I feel like the Big Ten was really, really pressured into that by the other schools in the conference,
and maybe justifiably so. That they feel like that this has been egregious to the point where, hey, no matter what we have said to them, or they have just continued to look the other way, or kind of give you the finger, so to speak, and now Jim Harbaugh says, I'm going to talk on Friday. I'm just looking forward to that opportunity, due process. I'm not looking for special treatment, not looking for a popularity contest, just looking for the merit of what the case is. Well, and I'm interested in that too. He did, and I have had this thought myself, not just like this, but there have been times when I thought, man, when I talk to attorneys, I'm like, man, I really would have liked to have been an attorney, I think, because I think I would really like to have been in the courtroom and state my case, even though that's really what you see on TV with whether it's Perry Mason or Matlock or, if
you kind of look like those guys.
Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like I feel like
you would be a good. You're right. You would be a good.
I feel like I could state my case.
You'd be a good TV lawyer.
Yeah, a good TV.
I don't know if you'd be a real one, yeah, right. But you really look like those guys.
He said this. He goes, I always felt like it'd be cool to get up there and thunder away at a jury like Tom Cruise and A Few Good Men, or be a judge. Right. Alas, I did not go to law school. This will be the first time I've ever been in this situation. So, but I feel like
Harbaugh said that.
Yeah, Harbaugh said that.
It's just, that just add that to it. It just it feels like he doesn't take any of this serious.
Yeah. And every time I've said something about this, I get the KU aspect of it. Look, I didn't like how they responded. I've said that repeatedly. I didn't like
He did, and you talked about their arrogance about it, and he didn't like it.
Yeah,
which is usually surprising because you usually brag about Kansas's arrogance.
Right. Yeah. Being a little smug, it's like they've come by it.
Yeah, honestly. You take pride in it.
They come by it honestly to a degree, but
which is very confusing.
I didn't like their response. I didn't like what. Felt like that they should have gotten some penalties. Anyway, but these are two different things, okay? But I feel like the college football fan public is more on the side of Harbaugh and Michigan than is on the side of the other Big Ten schools of going, hey, you guys made your bet here, now you got to lie in it.
Yeah, I guess I don't have a good gauge, like you're saying there, of what the typical college football fan. It feels like what you're getting from Michigan is exactly what you got from Astros fans, right? Mm-hmm. Well, everybody's doing it. Okay, well, everybody's doing something. Okay, well, in the Astros case, Major League Baseball figured out everybody was doing it and said, okay, stop doing these certain things.
Yeah.
Okay, and others listened, mm-hmm. and the Astros didn't. And I wonder if this is a similar deal with the with what that Michigan has done. It's been stated, which in a rule that I didn't know, specifically you cannot videotape, you can't future opponents or whatever, their sidelines and their signs and all that kind of stuff. You can go watch games all you want, but you can't record them. Well, I had no idea. Do I think it's a little bit silly? Seems odd.
Yeah.
Seems odd. But if that's the rule, that's the rule. And it does feel like Michigan's like, well, it's a stupid rule. It's a dumb rule. It doesn't even feel like they're denying it, and there's just so much evidence that says that they're doing it. Okay, it's not surprising, and it does. I kind of have always been. I feel like when you're talking Duke, Michigan, Duke, North Carolina in basketball, or you're talking, you're talking Michigan, Ohio State in football. You have to, like, every year, even though you're not a part of it, you pick one team to root for. Mm-hmm. I've always been the Michigan guy for whatever reason.
Yeah, I have too. I'm with you. I never really liked Ohio State. Yeah. I felt like the Ohio State. Again, kind of shocking that
I know you're the one that says it, and it annoys the living bejeekers out of me. And you're the one that consistently says it, and you don't like it, but you continue to say the. Yeah. I see the Cooper folks are doing that now. Cooper High School folks are doing the Lubbock Cooper High School.
Oh, they are
over
Liberty Cooper.
For Liberty, you're Liberty Cooper. Yes.
Oh wow.
I see the Lubbock Cooper folks, which I feel is kind of comical.
We got a little infighting there.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, surely it's going to turn into some sort of rivalry,
you would
right?
Think, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So I get it.
Sure.
Anyway, so I've always fallen on the side of rooting for Michigan over Ohio State. Yep. I mean, it's just because of why you just said, because I know a bunch of media members in the Metroplex, and they're all Ohio State guys, and they're so incredibly arrogant. And that's the only reason. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so I feel like I want to be on the side of Harbaugh here, but just his arrogance over the whole deal.
Yeah.
And okay, well, it's a rule, and you're clearly not following the rule. And then it makes me wonder, is this why suddenly Michigan has been able to beat Ohio State? Is this why Michigan has finally figured out a way to get it done? Because they weren't before. I don't know. I just don't like his arrogance. I don't like any of the answers we've heard from Michigan on this deal. I don't know. I'm anxious to hear what he has to say on Friday, but it feels like he just thinks it's a big joke.
I'm surprised they couldn't find a judge to give him an injunction so that he could coach on Saturday.
Yeah,
I really expected that to come down and going, okay.
It was a federal holiday. All the judges were off. It was Veterans Day.
Okay.
It was like the Friday after Thanksgiving Friday.
Okay.
Ain't nobody working that day for them.
Okay, so the Big Ten planned that.
I would find it extremely hard to believe they didn't.
That was no coinkydink there.
That's
Do it on Thursday. You can get an injunction. Wait until Friday.
Well, they waited until he got on a plane to go to Michigan or to go to Penn State before leaving Michigan, before they made their ruling. I mean, he didn't find out until they landed. I don't know. It's all very, very interesting. Seems a lot about a lot.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thanks for being with us this morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Take your thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to Double T973.com for that, or the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. The mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. And we get this. This is a compliment for you, Jamie. And I'm not sure about the rest of us that were here yesterday. Nice to hear the calming and steadying tones of Jamie this morning.
Thank you. Glad you're hearing those tones. Glad I'm upright again. I heard it wasn't calm or steadying yesterday.
Oh,
I saw somewhere on the chat line that somebody said you had your "what kind of car do you drive" moment.
I did. I had a little bit of that moment. I had one of those moments yesterday. Just one.
Just one?
Just one. Yeah, just one. Just might have had one.
Did you get it all out?
Yeah, got it all. Yeah, I felt better after that.
He may or may not have been corrected on something that he said on the chat line when Chuck probably didn't really get it wrong, to be fair to Chuck. It was heard wrong. Mm-hmm. And fairness to Chuck, 18-19, he was talking about 2018, 2019.
Yeah, I just said 18-19.
Yeah. Okay. So, and that started us down the spiral, and KU arrogance got brought up, and then we're off to the races.
It wasn't too bad, though.
We heard Arms of the Angel for the first time in quite some time.
We heard what now?
Arms of an Angel for the first time in quite some time.
Right. We hadn't had the sad dog music in quite some time.
Sad dog music.
I love how the animal always changes. It's dogs, elephants, cats.
Whales.
Whales, right.
Yeah.
This Taylor Beatles said on Optimum Game Day Live that he thought Tech, if was going to have a chance to win, they would have to make it a slugfest in the trenches by running the ball. Run, and run some more. He must have been right, as that's exactly what Kitley did until the last 26 seconds.
I just think if you look at the first few drives there, Barron took some chances, and there were some balls that very well could have been picked off besides the one that was picked off down near the goal line. And so I think that it just looked like that he wasn't reading that Kansas defense really well. And so, I give Coach Kitley and, coaching staff credit for, hey, you know what? We've got a lead now. Okay. You were up 10-0 early on. And I thought for all the world that holding call was going to cost you the game. Because it would have been 14-0 and not 10-0.
Sure.
But you're up 10. Their quarterback's out. Okay. You're having success running the football. Okay. They've got a guy with no experience in there. And they haven't shown at this point that they can score. So let's run the football. Let's milk the clock.
Yeah.
Let's avoid turning the ball over and giving them a short field or any of that. Let's do those things. And it's not going to look pretty. It's not going to put up a bunch of points. We're not going to have any Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week awards unless it's Taj Brooks. And just try to shorten the game that way. That's what it looked like to me. And ultimately that's, again, I described it earlier as playing not to lose rather than playing to win. But I think sometimes you need a little of that. And I think going back to the West Virginia game, I think you could have done a whole lot more of that. Like, hey, we just lost our starting quarterback. We've got the new guy in, and not that he doesn't have experience. He made some starts the year before, but he hasn't taken a lot of reps this year, and it's raining, and they got a backup quarterback that's terrible. So, let's just, for whatever reason, at no point did they decide, let's run the football with Taj Brooks, who's having a good day. Well, I shouldn't say no at no point, because they did in the second half.
Yeah.
They did in the second half. But you didn't do that. And I felt like this was them learning from that mistake that was West Virginia and using it against Kansas.
The other thing that I thought was interesting, we talked about this, and I gave you credit last year for saying this, because I think you were exactly right about they stopped going for it as much on fourth down and at the last 4 ball games or so of the season. But Coach McGuire talked yesterday about punting late instead of going for it, and really they did play some field position and actually used your All-American punter.
The one thing that we've done a little bit different this year, we really stick to analytics, but we try to, that game was a really defensive game, and we were playing minus one play, the option play to where we got upfield. Our 3 technique got hooked. Then, we had a freshman in the open field against one of the best backs in the country, not make the tackle. Rabbit should have made the tackle and got the ball down, and that didn't happen. And so besides that really one play, we were playing really good defense. So it was, hey, let's try to pin them back and make them drive the field. And that was going to happen either way, but especially now, we've been through it, the pains of playing with a number 3 quarterback. They were playing with a young quarterback, so it's almost like, hey, let's see if he can beat us. And so there was a couple times that probably were a goal. It was really close, but that was more, hey, let's go play defense because we're playing good defense today.
Man, I was thrilled to see Austin McNamara come out there a couple of times and pin him back. And KU really never had very good field position, and that's something that Tech did have at times throughout the game, particularly in the first half when you were scoring, is really good field position because they were having to punt into the wind because your defense was pinning them back.
Yeah, I just feel like, again, that you were saying, hey, we're not going to give them a short field here. We're not going to risk it. We have a lead. Let's punt the ball. Our defense has been great. Let them play and force them to go the length of the field with an inexperienced quarterback.
Somebody says this, they should have called offensive pass interference on the halfback pass by KU there at the end. Would have made the field goal tougher. I don't know if it would have made the field goal tougher or not. It would have taken more time off the clock potentially. Maybe not that much, but at any rate, they didn't call it. Probably should have called it. Probably right. Again, I don't know if it makes it tougher or easier because that angle was it when it's short like that. I think sometimes the angle's harder as opposed to the distance.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Just depends who the kicker is.
Yeah. Exactly. 7:22 this morning here on the morning drive. Right. One last thing from Coach McGuire. He talks about the timeout on that last KU drive.
Timeout, I was kind of waiting. I waited a couple of seconds to call it because I was going to see if he was going to call one because I think he also had one left. And our thought was, get it there because whether they kick a field goal or they scored a touchdown, we needed some time left to try to go score. So just, I think it's one thing that you see more and more these days of just playing defense and trying to get a stop there. You're seeing more and more teams, get the timeouts. I mean, it's not traditional football. If you go back to old school traditional football, you're going to get a stop and, you're going to win right there or lose right there. And I think, with you see it more and more that we knew if we could get 30-plus seconds on the clock, then we'd have an opportunity at least to put the ball in Baron Morton's hands and try to go score. So that's why we call the timeout.
They had time, and they were able to get those 3 pass plays completed, and then sets up the winning field goal by Gino Garcia. How confident with Gino Garcia are you? Are you confident 40 in, 45 in? Is there a number for you right now, or are you just feel pretty good when he trots out there?
Yeah, definitely feel good.
Okay, yeah,
he's doing a great job.
I think so too. And those last 3 plays started with 26 seconds left, and Tech gets the winning field goal there at the very end, and they have to kick off, but you're able to stop them and get your 5th win, and they'll play Saturday at 4 o'clock. Optimum Game Day live coverage begins at 7 a.m. Saturday morning right here on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. And just like that, the home portion of the football season will be over by the time the clock strikes midnight on Saturday. It happens very, very quickly. All right, Jamie's question of the day is next. What has he got cooked up for us? We'll find out.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Pick Jamie's brain about the Texas A&M coaching situation with Jim Harbaugh. I mean, Golden Parachute is probably even a little light for what he's getting to sail with.
Jim Harbaugh or Jimbo Fisher?
I mean, Jimbo Fisher. Yeah, Jimbo Fisher. Well, Jim Harbaugh, he may fly away too and go to the MFL, but Jimbo Fisher, $75 million. That's a plus. That's a pretty big number. It's a good number. 7:45. Boom, boom, boom. Next, Jimmy's question of the day.
Time now for Jamie's question of the day on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3.
You've had plenty of time to think.
Yes. Okay, so this is a pretty simple question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm sure this has changed a little bit after Saturday. What is your confidence level right now that Tech is going to a bowl game?
I think it's 75% now. I mean, I had said 2 or 3 weeks ago that there's no chance, but I think it's really, really high. And it's funny. I walked away from Saturday and I watched quite a bit of the Texas TCU game, and Texas only scored like 3 points in the second half. And I watched kind of kept track of the UCF Oklahoma State game. And I've walked away feeling like, man, I'm more worried about UCF than I am Texas. I know that maybe UCF just caught lightning in a bottle there, and whatever they did, everything worked well for them, and it just was a perfect night. And Oklahoma State was, coming off the Bedlam win, and maybe just kind of were a little full of themselves, or just kind of was just played down to the moment, so to speak. But I'm 75% or more. I think you're going to get to a bowl game.
Okay.
There were a lot of things in Saturday's game that I liked. The win was obviously the biggest part, but you didn't try to do too much. You didn't force things after really the first quarter where you were getting yourself in trouble. You made better decisions, trusting in the players that you can rely on. and let your defense do the work on the road against a ranked opponent. So that does make me feel better. And then I turn around and see what UCF did to Oklahoma State, who I thought was a pretty good football team.
Right.
Not like peak.
Right.
Don't get me like they're not at the Texas or Oklahoma tiers what we thought, but pretty good football team. Had a chance to play for a Big 12 championship. Still do, obviously, but whoa. So I'm better than I was a week ago, where I was thinking 30, 20% chance. I don't know that I'm much better than 50-50 at this point. So I've definitely improved. Playing at home is going to help. But if that UCF team shows up, they might beat everybody on their roster on the schedule.
So you got to win one game. The winning in Austin against the Longhorns, thanks to our favorite commissioner, would be the shock of all shocks for me.
Because you think they'll be highly motivated. There's going to be a lot of reasons why they're going to be motivated, one of which will be an opportunity at a really nice bowl game and a very, very nice bowl game and a chance to play for a Big 12 championship.
Absolutely. They know how much everybody else wants them to lose that game. And I just think I think that's going to be one ripe football team. So I do not hold out much hope whatsoever for that game, for the Red Raiders.
For that game, okay. What about Saturday?
I was seeing how it's not just the fact that they dismantled Oklahoma State, but it just feels like they figured some things out in the last few weeks, and they're playing their best football. And now they're closing in on a bowl appearance.
Right.
So they're truly motivated, right? They got something to play for.
Absolutely.
They're not down in the dumps.
Somebody's going to get to be bowl eligible on Saturday. It's either us or them, and then they finish up by hosting Houston. So they have to feel, pretty good.
They might feel like they got a second shot at it. We just necessarily don't. Well, the team probably does. Fan base different. I'm over 50%, but I'm barely above 50%. So I'm going to go 60%.
Okay.
60%. So I'm a little higher than Jeff, but not as high as you.
I know. I'm all over the road. I'm swerving from guardrail to guardrail.
Yeah,
That's how the season has gone.
Yeah, that's true. Chuck's personality is the high and a low guy.
Sure, right.
So it makes it more fun, probably.
I don't know if it does or not.
Yeah. Jeff and I are kind of more in the middle.
That's why
we play a little safer with our emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I throw caution to the wind when it comes to that. Yeah. So this week you've got entering into play. You've got Texas at 6-1, and then you've got a bunch of teams at 5-2: Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Iowa State, K-State, and then West Virginia is now bowl eligible at 6-4 and 4-3 in the conference. And so it'll be fun to see kind of who comes out on top of this. And I guess the other thing it tells you is that, man, you just really have had some opportunities this year to put yourself in a really good spot that you've just let slip away.
Yeah, the West Virginia is the one that just continues.
Is that the one game you'd like to have back?
It would be the most for me, just because the conference games mean more. I'd love to have Wyoming and Oregon back. I think those.
What about BYU?
Yeah,
with a healthy quarterback,
a healthy quarterback. Yeah. Yes, I don't want to go through it again with a poor freshman who's not ready for prime time.
Let's see. This week you have number 17 Oklahoma at BYU. You have Cincinnati at West Virginia. You'd like to think that West Virginia is going to take care of business there at home. That's probably a game where I'm going to say this. That is a game where if you're West Virginia and you're wanting to make a change at your head football coach, that would be a game that if they lose that game, it could cost Neil Brown his job. And they could say, you know what? we can't beat a 3-7 Cincinnati team at home when we have a little bit of momentum. Because they finish with Cincinnati this week, and then next week they'll play at Baylor. I mean, they literally could have an 8-win season.
Yeah, they could. They could.
But I think if they lose this week, that seat will get extremely warm going into the last week of the season with Baylor.
I don't think they will.
You don't think they'll lose?
No.
Yeah. I don't think they'll lose either. I'll root for them against Cincinnati.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I have a personal upon further review for you this morning. 8:32. Personal upon further review. Remember the other day, it was Greek yogurt day, and we for our food of the day during this day in sports history, Jeff always gives us a little tidbit about, hey, it's pepperoni pizza day, it's cheeseburger day.
I think it was Friday or Thursday last week.
Yeah,
something like
it was
that. One of the
Greek yogurt day, and the lucky lady happened to be listening and heard me say Greek yogurt. Yeah, I'm completely out on Greek yogurt.
Is that where she tells you that that's what's in your cup every day?
Last night I got home from the Lady Raider basketball game, and she opened up the refrigerator and pointed to me. She had told me this. She pointed to me. You see that right there? Greek yogurt in your smoothie every day. So, Jamie, apparently I do like Greek yogurt.
Okay.
So it's camouflaged with, strawberries and bananas and other stuff that's good for you. But so apparently I do like Greek yogurt. Just so you know.
You just have to reevaluate your whole life now, don't you?
Yeah, right.
Maybe you really do like the Beatles.
No.
Yeah, but there's certain things, like there's certain ingredients that go in food, a certain food item or whatever, that you're like, I don't like that plain or whatever.
Sure.
But it's in an ingredient.
Yeah.
It is an ingredient in something you eat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it feels like that kind of falls into that category. Like you don't eat it plain.
No, I don't.
Yogurt.
Like just open up the thing and open up, the lid and go,
yeah,
Greek yogurt, yum.
Yeah. So what's the difference between Greek yogurt and say, I don't know, American yogurt?
I don't know. I don't know. This is
One's in his cup and one isn't.
Okay.
I don't know. All right. So what was your take with the Aggie announcement over the weekend about Jimbo Fisher and it's funny because both coaches that coached on Saturday, Mississippi State versus Texas A&M, both coaches ended up getting fired over the weekend or yesterday in the case of the Mississippi State guy.
What's my take on it?
Yeah.
Something's going bad for the Aggies. I'm a fan.
Okay. They're going to have to spend some money, obviously, to buy. They don't seem bothered by the $75 million.
Well, they've got the Puff Fund, and it had it for
well, they
quite
got the
some time.
12th Man Foundation, I think, is where they're saying this money is coming from. And they made a big presentation. That should have been a clue to Jimbo Fisher on Saturday. They made a big presentation from the 12th Man to the Aggie athletic department or whatever fund that they have. It's like $100 million, and Jimbo's got to be going, oh, so is that for me? Why don't you just give it to me now, and I'll just go ahead and go home.
Yeah, I'm not feeling bad for Jimbo Fisher. I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Get a job coaching somewhere else and have that $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, it's hard not to think, man, what could $75 million do, to a good charity or something?
Sure. Or maybe even just 10% of that.
Yeah.
Or 1% of that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not always all about money, because obviously A&M's got all the money in the world, and they've got all, they obviously recruited a high level, and some people just don't fit. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's all about, culture and things like that. It'll be interesting to see who they get. I don't know if there is the obvious choice. Some think the obvious choice at Mississippi State is Dan Mullen, who has been there before and left them to go to Florida, and then it worked out well for a period of time there in Florida, and then suddenly it didn't, and suddenly he left in the middle of the season. So maybe maybe he does want to get back in. He's been on ESPN, looks pretty comfortable. I think he's made quite a bit of money, but I'm sure that coaching gets in your blood, like for any profession. I mean, if you have a profession that you've done all your life or a significant portion of your life, and you leave it, it probably stays in your blood. I would imagine, especially if it's a career that you've enjoyed. So I would think that he would be a guy that would get another shot at it. For Jimbo Fisher, the question would be how motivated are you? And maybe he is. Maybe he's still real motivated to go work again. And maybe if it doesn't work out at LSU, the guy that hired him at A&M is now the athletic director at LSU, and that's one of the reasons why he got this big pile of money a couple of years ago, is because A&M had fear of loss that Jimbo Fisher was going to go run off to LSU when they got rid of Ed Orgeron. Mm-hmm. So maybe he goes there. But look, ADs don't stay there all the time either. I mean, there's a certain shelf life for them too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, because it's not like Brian Kelly's exactly killed it down there.
Yeah, no, but I don't think he's been a train wreck.
He's not been a train wreck. Give
it a little more time and you might be able to say that, but not now.
Somebody says this, man, I should have been a football coach. Succeed or fail, I still get a boatload of money. Yeah, but for every one of those, there's 10,000 guys that, coached at the high school level and just trying to, cobble it together and figure out a way to win and living like, everybody else, month to month, paycheck to paycheck and stuff like that. These things like this get the big headline, obviously. I mean, it's a huge headline, because the $75 million is more than all the coaches together last year that were fired. It's crazy. It's a crazy number.
Crazy number.
It's a crazy number. And I think there's got to be more to the Mississippi State situation than just 11 games. I mean, Zach Arnett was elevated after the death of Mike Leach almost immediately. I mean, it was clear that there was something, obviously, because when they talked about Leach being hospitalized and in grave danger, and they already have named an interim. I mean, that was pretty quick that afternoon, that Sunday afternoon, that they named an interim, so that you knew something was really, really bad for Coach Leach, and obviously it ended up being that way. But for him to only not even get a full year, that just seems so odd to me, that they would be all of a sudden thinking that they're some kind of college football legacy program, when you look at them in the SEC and where they stood and who they're behind. It's like, how in the world could you expect him to turn that thing around overnight? So
I wouldn't expect that you could. So you might be right. Maybe there's more to it, that the players aren't loving playing for him or something. Or
they look at this and go, hey, we have a chance to go get Dan Mullen. He's better than Zach Arnett.
Yeah, maybe.
Or somebody else in that deal. We've had a couple of references to this, that Cliff Kingsbury's on this A&M list. I'd be shocked beyond shock if they hired him to be the head football coach.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet973.com.